What's up, everybody? Thanks for watching today. In today's video, I'm going to ask you guys this question, and I'd like some participation from you guys. Maybe we can kind of help each other out here, get to know each other a little bit better, however you want to look at this. For the question today, I want to ask you, if you had to do it all over again, what three things would you have done differently? And I'll go ahead and start things off here and share my three things. So these are in no particular order, just three things that I was thinking about that I would have done differently if I had to push reset on this ride we call life. So, number one, I would say that I would have learned to enjoy my own time sooner in life. It really wasn't up until about a year to 2 years ago when I started spending a lot of time alone and finally being okay with it. Um, all through my 20s, up until my mid 30s, I didn't like to be alone. And when you are that way, you will tolerate the craziest shit. You will tolerate shit burger sandwiches, and you'll just keep letting people come back and keep feeding you those shit burger sandwiches. And when you finally respect yourself enough and enjoy your own company, you start to realize that you don't have to put up with people's shit and keep them around. So I remember taking myself to movies. Every week I'd go to a movie by myself. I'd go out to dinner and lunch by myself almost daily. And a huge one for me was spending weekends alone, especially weekend nights. That was such a hard thing for me to overcome, and that was a huge part of my addiction was weekend nights. That was definitely a hard one for me. And I feel like it's like I would always feel like I was missing out, or I had to be out doing something. I had to be doing what the cool kids were doing. So that definitely was a struggle for me, and I think like thinking back on it, I think it stems from my childhood because I wasn't really able to do much, like as far as like sleepovers and having friends over. So, and I would have to be in bed by 8 o'clock on a summer night when kids were still outside playing until 10, 11 o'clock in the neighborhood. So I just felt like I was really kind of restricted as a kid. So that really sucked for me. And I remember just really missing out on a lot because of the strict household that I was in. And so I think that definitely carried on to later in my life. So I always felt like I was missing out on something. So yeah, there's that one. Okay, so once you learn how to enjoy your own time, man, things just get a lot better, and you're not so panicky. If you get out of a relationship, you don't have to go fill that void with somebody else or something else. You can just enjoy your own time and your own space. It's kind of a double-edged sword though, because when you get so used to being alone and then you meet somebody new and then they start coming around a lot, it's kind of overwhelming, and that kind of was a challenge for me. I was so used to being a lone wolf and always being alone and doing what I wanted all the time that when I started dating someone new, it was a bit of a challenge, and I had to keep some pretty big boundaries to respect and still have my own time alone, because it's just such a huge change. The second thing I would say I would have done differently is learned when relationships in your life have expired. So learn when to eliminate toxic drama relationships. Anybody that you feel drained of energy when you're hanging around them. Anybody that you have to have alcohol to be around them. Anybody that, anytime you just leave the relationship, you leave the conversation feeling negative every time. Every time you get off the phone with them, you have a crappy feeling in your stomach. it might not always be so obvious, you know, and it could be who you maybe think is your best friends. Um, a lot of people are drama these days, at least where I'm from, and he said, she said, oh my gosh, that stuff gets so annoying, especially after you've been hearing the same thing for years. So, and also kind of speaking about relationships, it seems like so many people are willing to settle with shit relationships because they're afraid to be alone and afraid to see, you know, what might be out there for their next relationship. It's a transition, and if you are okay being alone, then you know you can get into your next relationship when the time is right. It doesn't have to be so forced. Or you can find your new friendships. You know, you don't just have to go out there and scramble for anything and take whatever falls, and you don't have to settle. Is pretty much what I mean by that. So definitely knowing when the expiration date is on relationships. I'm talking about friendships, I'm talking about family, whatever it is. If you're constantly being weighed down by a certain person and you're constantly feeling like shit, your body is trying to tell you, your mind is trying to tell you, and it knows, you know. So listen to that, listen to your intuition. And once you cut ties with certain stressful people, your life is going to start getting better every single day. So for the third one, I would say for financial stuff, um, it seems like life financially is like this for everybody, and I know things come in, everything comes in cycles in life, and that definitely holds true for financial stuff. For me, you know, I did not come from a family that had good money. You know, it was always scraping by. Um, it was always, I'm sure, paycheck to paycheck, and I know that most of America's like that. I think what is it, 80 or 90% of people live paycheck to paycheck. So that was stressful, and when I got in, I mean, I'm a high school dropout, guys, GED, woohoo, high school dropout. I mean, I had a paper route as a kid. You know, I've been trying to hustle since I was a kid. Waking up at 4 in the morning to go throw papers. You know, I was, what, 12 years old? So when I finally figured things out and got good momentum going financially in life, the ball kept getting bigger and bigger, and it really kind of got overwhelming. And I think a part of me felt like I didn't deserve to make as good of money as I was making for a brief time. So I felt like I kind of self-destructed that, and I think a lot of it has to do with my addiction. You know, while I have my addiction issues, I feel like subconsciously I kind of self-sabotage my financial success because I feel like deep down I don't deserve it, because I have been addicted to stuff. So I know that that's a limiting belief that I need to figure out on my own, but I do kind of wish that I would have kept the momentum going in my financial life. I had a huge ball going, and I can imagine how much money I could be making right now. And so right now I'm literally kind of stuck in like a big rut, because I want to finish this Suboxone, and it's taking much longer than I had thought that it would, because I'm trying to rewire my brain. You know, it's not something you can do overnight. It does take a lot of work, I'll tell you from experience. And I definitely feel like I'm going to be thankful that I'm doing things the way I'm doing, um, because I want to be able to, when I have good success financially, I want to be able to truly feel it, not just be numbed out by Suboxone or opiates and just get a super temporary, brief, awesome feeling that I won't even remember the next day, more than likely. I want to experience success, you know, in its full, and I look forward to doing that. But I have to wrap up this chapter of my life and get rid of it. So that's pretty much it, guys. Let me know what you guys think about this video, if you can relate to any of these three things. At the end of the day, though, I do have to say that everything that I have been through couldn't have happened any other way. Because if they did, then I wouldn't be sitting right here talking to you guys. You guys are awesome. And I wouldn't be with this amazing woman that I have right now in this beautiful home. I wouldn't have these two beautiful fur babies. And I wouldn't have a lot of things. So, although it does suck to have to learn those lessons the hard way, a lot of them, especially addiction, I have gratitude for them, and I look forward to spending the rest of my life utilizing the lessons that I've learned over the past 37 years. And I hope you guys can also see a similar picture, a similar outlook. So let me know what you guys think about this video. It's kind of different from the normal Suboxone talk. I definitely wish I would have taken addiction more seriously sooner in life. Me seeing how many friends I have lost to addiction, either literally lost and they're in heaven, or they're still alive, but you don't really consider it living because they're a slave to drugs or alcohol every day. There's so many people in my family that have suffered with addiction, and I really feel like it's probably 90% of everybody that I know, family and friends, all are struggling with some sort of substance abuse or substance addiction, whether that's alcohol or drugs. Does that seem about how it is for you guys? I'm really curious if it's just my experience that is so surrounded by addiction that I need to learn certain lessons from this. If this is just the mirror thing, life showing me my own mirror. I'm really curious. Are you guys fully surrounded by addiction the same way? Post down below. I really am curious how many of you guys have addiction deep in your family or in your social group. Let me know, guys. Thanks for watching tonight's video, and have a great weekend. Bye.